chief whip. There's also been issues around the Attorney General's approach to his corruption cases, where sometimes he's given a lot of details about his intentions and is not even necessarily proceeded to court on some of the cases. So again, there was a lot of expectation around the campaign that the previous government was looting the economy and they will recover all the loot. Yes, we are not saying go and put people in prison without due process, but the whole feeling around anti-corruption seems to have, I don't know, a bit of an anticlimax, in my view.
Bernard, be assured that 2025, the focus of President Mahama, having assumed office, acutely aware and sensitive to the state of the Ghanaian economy, primarily had to focus on resetting the economy. Into 2026, the reset will shift to governance, and that will include constitutional, administrative, and legal review in order to strengthen our public institutions to ensure more efficient and effective delivery of the public goods. Now, when it comes to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and I'm sure you would have a minute for me to explain this, I take a sociological view of the Office of Special Prosecutor. Go back to the days when 1981, 1979, regrettable as those developments may be in terms of Jerry Rawlings and the PNDC at the time, exacting even life as part of his commitment to end graft, economic corruption, which increases the cost of doing business and denies development to poor, deserving people. What that did for me was a redefinition of a new consciousness about corruption. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor, I conceive it in the same respect. It does come with a new consciousness that every public office holder is aware that there is a watchman somewhere watching you, not to abuse the public trust and not to betray the public trust, and that there are dire consequences for the betrayal of the public trust. Now, we all, and this is just to improve our constitutional jurisprudence. What we argued then, if you recall, so when I heard Speaker Michael Quay talk about the Office of Special Prosecutor, I said, hey, Ghana, we have come very far. He was Speaker of Parliament when we thoroughly debated the establishment of the office. And one of the significant writings at the time was the U.S. State Department issued a very strong statement supporting President Akufo-Addo, at least in fighting corruption. We call it the Sunshine Laws. Right to information is a sunshine legislation. Creating the Office of the Special Prosecutor is part of dealing with graft head on. But the argument then was not about the existence of the office. It's about the constitutionality of it, which is reference to Article 88.4, I believe, or 3 of the 1992 Constitution, which vests prosecutorial powers, criminal prosecution, only in the Attorney General. So read 88.3 and 4.
I follow the argument.
Now, so it was more that argument, but having established the office, they are supposed to account to the Ghanaian people the extent to which they are fighting corruption and exposing it. And I think that consultation suffered along the line between the party in parliament and government. That probably occasioned that momentary lapse of judgment. I mean, we have an executive president, and President Mahama is in full control as leader of government, head of state.
So you agree with President Mahama's view that it's too early to touch?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with this. This is the point of view. Tonight is...
But that's not to say that I agree with the constitutionality of that office and the process.
My guest is Haruna Iddrisu, and he's the Minister for Education. We'll actually talk about education again. We've just been breezing through the first year of the Mahama administration. Of course, he is a minister in that government, but we still want to test his own views around how well he thinks that government has done. We're discussing some governance issues. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. So tonight on The Point of View, we're talking to Haruna Iddrisu, Minister for Education, MP for Tamale South, reflecting on the first year of the Mahama administration. Education employs over 300,000 people, and we are told they will want to employ more. Indeed, over 90-something thousand teachers are waiting to be employed. So I'm sure by the time...
That's what is required.
So you need 93,000 more?
Yes, teachers across the country. There are a number of basic schools that are without teachers. We have currently a backlog of about 36,000 teachers, 2023-2024 cohort, who finish colleges of education who have not been employed. That itself is undermining the industrial peace and harmony.
So if you had your way to recruit all those 93K, we'll be having about 500,000 teachers, approximately.
And that will affect your compensation budget as a percentage of GDP. So that is why once in a while government will come and do 6,000 after 12 months.
But the UNESCO standard, we are still below for education.
In terms of people-teacher ratio, yeah, we are far behind.
So if you had your way and the budget allowing, you'd have employed all the 93,000.
I'm sure your question is better than if the economy had its way, if the economy could absorb that, it certainly would have done that. But it's difficult for an economy where you still need teachers. So for instance, take education budget, 33 billion. 30 billion is spent on wages and salaries, compensation. So nothing is left for goods and services, nothing is left for capex, and you celebrate that you have a large budget. The chunk of it will go into
you need infrastructure.
Of wages and salaries. The infrastructure in education across the country, today I briefed cabinet on it, is not in the best of state. Particularly for young girls.
We still have schools under trees, by the way.
Yes, I'm even worried about changing rooms for young girls. About 26,000 deficit. Schools under trees across the regions. In the Upper East region, it's about 648 schools. In under tree, Northern region, 1,148. In the Bunu region, between 398 and 450 schools under trees. Not the best. Junior secondary school, about 798 is lacking across the country. But we've gotten some funding from the World Bank, about $200 million, which we intend to spend.
So what are you prioritizing? Is it basic, secondary?
No, we are going to upgrade 30 category C schools to B.
This is SHS.
10 category B schools to A, and expand infrastructure in the number of the category A schools. I mean,
so these are secondary schools?
These are secondary education. But if Ghana is to succeed, we have to prioritize foundational learning at the basic level, invest hugely in foundational learning from kindergarten to junior high school. All our investments.
So is there any aspect of the big push that will go into building basic schools?
I should think so. I should think so.
Do you have any numbers to share?
When there is a second phase of the big push, beyond roads, it should go into education and health infrastructure.
Because if we have those many schools and trees, and the president admitted at the launch of the STEM box that he believes the WASSCE results was a reflection of poor standard of basic.
And the WASSCE results just reflected the state of our education and a wake-up call for all of us, particularly quality improvement, improvement in infrastructure, the environment in which learners learn. But don't forget that before WASSCE, I was in the Bunu region from Babato through Kintapo up to Techima because the red flags of exam malpractices were dominant in that particular area. So it was zero tolerance for cheating, which probably contributed to what we are seeing.
So you don't really think that students didn't do well? It was more the tougher stance on invigilation?
That's one of several factors. But from the examiner's report that I have analyzed, the GES and the team are still analyzing it at the request of President Mahama. It was more of many of the students not being analytical. It was more like a challenge of application. They gave them graphs,
particularly in maths.
and many of them couldn't be analytical in terms of the application of the graph. That's what accounted for the poor performance in mathematics. So we need to take it up, improve the standing of the teachers, support them in terms of their professional
Let's stay with
career development.
You said the school placement system was not working well, and you ordered some sort of review. Do you have the report? Do you know what you're going to do to make it better for next year?
You know, school placement. I shared this true story where a particular parent was up in hills on me that, hey, Haruna Iddrisu, you are failing to help me. I called you. You are not attending to me. So I said, what aggregate? When he said 41, as I said, my phone fell down because 41, and he wanted a category A school. We also had instances where there was fraud, and national security made a number of significant arrests of those who tried to place undeserving students in category A schools, including somebody with 37 who was placed in a category A school. But where I sit as minister, I got as much as 68,000 protocol requests to help. 68,000
protocol requests?
Yes.
Official requests?
So if you are sitting in that hot seat, who would you help? Who wouldn't you be able to help? So the answer is that expand infrastructure. The MPP administration, having launched free senior high school in 2018, by my assessment, did not significantly and commensurately match it with infrastructure support. So you have a school which had a population of 1,400, which is now 4,000, the same dormitory, the same classroom, the same quality improvement. You should expect poor or low outcomes in the provision of education. So, and some of the students even studied without textbooks because they didn't make provision for textbooks for them. If you look at even year 2 who are now entering year 3, it is only with the functionality of the tablets that they have been able to access their textbooks. So a generality of problems accounted for the poor standing.
We're still talking to Haruna Iddrisu, the Minister for Education. Let's turn our attention to something else. I was on Attorney General and the performance around corruption. We've discussed OSP. You agree with the President on OSP. But in relation to oral prosecutions, Attorney General Ayine has given many press conferences. A lot of people don't seem to be seeing or say they don't see that it's not matching the rhetoric with action. I don't know if you have any analysis of the approach to fighting corruption, particularly from the AG's perspective this time. AG.
So, Bernard, when you say Ghana is a country that upholds the rule of law, what does that mean for you? It's a country where due process must be respected. And the Constitution, presumption of innocence.
All right.
You don't pronounce or declare any person guilty by your thinking or by your standing or by the office you hold. It says, subject to this Constitution. So I think that the wheels of justice run. It may run slowly, as tortuous as it runs. I'm sure the wheels of justice will run and catch up.
If that is true, then do you not think that oral over sensationalize the corruption issue by making all those claims, and then later on Domelevo comes to say a lot of what they heard was, I'm just quoting him,
the world,
was not backed by any proper evidence.
The judicial process is tortuous. There are cases which started far back 2005, which are still before the court. Make a distinction of that. Oral, there has been seizure of some properties that were not lawfully acquired. So I think that we should give Dr. Ayine
I
some
agree. I'm just saying that.
No,
do you concede that
Dr. Ayine is doing well as Attorney General?
I'm not criticizing Ayine. I'm saying, do you think NDC
is the first person
needlessly politicized the issue with setting up oral?
You know why they call him the #1 lawyer of the Republic? He must uphold the Constitution.
I agree with that.
Uphold the rule of law.
Yes.
And respect the judicial process and due process. Criminal law, I mean, presumption of innocence, as I have said. What I'm not particularly happy about is the use of denial of bail as a punishment for accused persons is tried law that is not acceptable.
Fair enough.
I mean, there are significant rulings of the Supreme Court
Yeah.
which says that don't use denial of bail as basis to punish an accused person, save in circumstances where you think that the person may become a fugitive of justice. That is when you are strong on those issues. So I think that the Attorney General and Minister for Justice is doing well.
Yeah.
Then two, thorough investigation. You know, the law is not necessarily based on truth. The law is based on evidence.